Hi guys, welcome back to Political Predictions. Today we will be doing a 2024 elections predictions between Chris Sununu and Michael Bloomberg. I know Michael Bloomberg is definitely a very recognizable name. He joined. Did I spell his name wrong? Yeah, I did. So we have Michael Bloomberg, who is the former Republican mayor of New York City, of course. And he was a candidate in the 2020 Democratic national primaries, but he lost, and I think he was primarily brought in to destroy Bernie's candidacy. You know, like for some reason the Democratic establishment is like so afraid of Bernie, and any progressive like Tulsi Gabbard, because they know that they're going to lose their power, and that's the thing. People who benefit from the status quo will protest. So anyway, so today this is kind of a very unusual matchup because I know the Democratic establishment loves Bloomberg. Whereas Chris Sununu is you're more moderate Republican, you're more northeastern Republican, but definitely a little bit more Trumpian, but definitely not, but I think, Chris Sununu would, appeal well to like some Democrats, but I think with Michael Bloomberg, being a former Republican, I think, he would probably pretty much get that base locked. But definitely progressives are gonna not come out for it. Anyway, I don't want to spoil this video, so without further ado, let's get into this video. Please subscribe to my channel. My channel definitely needs a subscriber, it needs views, and I can't and it's becoming very difficult, especially in YouTube. So anyway, let's get into the video. So Chris Sununu safe states: Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, much of your Great Plains, those are, not going to pretty much. They're probably the most Republican states in the nation. Utah will be safe because the Mormon populations are gonna love Sununu. Um, South Carolina probably, I guess, because Democrats might come out for Michael Bloomberg, the more moderate Democrats, but definitely you're not gonna see more progressive Democrats, and plus every state does have progressive Democrats as well. And Missouri, that'll be safe, and Alaska. I do think Texas will be safe. I know you guys are. This is kind of controversial, but I think Texas will be safe because Chris Sununu does have much better suburban appeal. So I'm not so sure about Michael Bloomberg's suburban appeal, but definitely Chris Sununu, you're more old school Republican. You're more old school, although more Trump light, but definitely he's your more old school Republican. So I think he will kind of do well in Texas. And Maine second district, that'll be safe. No, they're not going to vote for an elitist like Michael Bloomberg. I certainly wouldn't vote for an elitist, corporatist Democrat, who is the root cause of America's problems today is because of these corporate establishment Democrats. Is the root cause of the root cause of the problems. Establishment Republicans and establishment Democrats. Anyway, so I think that's all the safe states I see for Chris Sununu and Michael Bloomberg. He certainly wouldn't have that many. California, Washington. California is always going to go blue no matter who. Vermont, Massachusetts. Rhode Island will probably be safe concerning the margin. Maryland, DC, and Illinois. Oh my gosh. Chicagoland is pretty much going to dominate the state. But I could see it narrow under Chris Sununu. Hawaii, I mean, it's very blue. So yeah, that's all I see in Maine's first district. So that's 166 safe electoral votes for Chris Sununu, 149 for Bloomberg. Chris Sununu's likely states include Iowa, Ohio, and I would say New Hampshire. I know you guys, this is controversial, but New Hampshire he's very popular. Like if you take a look at his last governor's bid in what was it, 2020, because New Hampshire elects their governors every 2 years. You can see he won in an absolute landslide, 65.1% to Dan Felda's 33.4%. That is a much better from his last election where he actually only won by like a little over 7 points. But Chris Sununu absolutely killed it in New Hampshire in 2020. Sorry guys, that's my notifications. But he became the first person to actually garner 500,000 votes in New Hampshire. And just look at all this red. Just look at all the red and around it. You probably have some blue precincts, but it isn't that many. It isn't that many, and to be quite honest, it isn't that many precincts. So I think Chris Sununu, with his popularity in New Hampshire, and I think if he keeps it that way, I could see New Hampshire being a likely red state. I think Georgia is definitely going to be a likely red state. I know this is going to be hard, um, but Chris Sununu is your establishment Republican. So I mean, Chris Sununu could do better in the Atlanta suburbs. Plus, Michael Bloomberg is literally everyone despises him. He's a former Republican, so Democrats will just not turn out for him. And Arizona, I would also say a very, very similar thing. Oops. So Democrats aren't going to turn out for the guy. North Carolina, that's very easy to say. That'll be likely, or regardless. And Florida, I think Florida would be likely Republican. So yeah. And Wisconsin. I know there's so many likely states for Chris Sununu just because Bloomberg is such an establishment hack. Like, can't you imagine, Like, I'm certainly not voting for Bloomberg, but I'm not voting for a corporate shill, who is the root cause, including establishment Republicans, but I don't think Chris Sununu is part of too much of an establishment Republican. I would say he's more like the more left leaning, but not establishment. Michael Bloomberg is literally an establishment Democrat. So you won't see any progressive Democrat or literally any Democrat coming out for him. Anyway, that's enough talk. But Bloomberg's likely states include Connecticut, Delaware, and Oregon. That would be likely Democratic. And yeah, that's really all I see for Bloomberg. Bloomberg is going to get destroyed here. Bloomberg will be destroyed. In Chris Sununu's lean states, he doesn't actually have that many. I would say, oops, not Virginia. I don't think Virginia will be like lean. I think they're gonna love someone like Bloomberg. Nevada. I mean, Democrats aren't really gonna like. You will have many Democrats who will not come out for Bloomberg. Bloomberg will have very, very low turnout. So Chris Sununu will take Nevada, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. I would probably see that as lean because I think Bloomberg being establishmentarian might help him in the suburbs, but definitely he's gonna get destroyed in the working class. He's gonna be destroyed. I'm not gonna hide the truth. He will be destroyed in the working class, and I think that's all I see. And probably Minnesota. I know, guys, this is very, very difficult, dude. I'm trying to be as unbiased as I could. I don't want to be REP or LT, but I'm sorry, guys, if you guys think this is too right-leaning, but I have to give Minnesota to Chris Sununu because if you look at the Minneapolis, if you look at the Democrats in Minnesota, they're not, establishment Democrats. Like Minnesota, well, politically is different compared to Wisconsin, but you still have a lot of progressive Democrats there, so those progressive Democrats aren't going to come out for Michael Bloomberg. You have Ilhan Omar Democrats, or even some other moderate Democrats will see Michael Bloomberg as a Republican-like candidate, which he clearly is a Republican-like candidate. So, yeah, that's all I see. That's why I see Minnesota. So Bloomberg with having very, very low turnout, very similar to Nevada. Very low turnout on Bloomberg's side, and Chris Sununu will probably again will get the turnout. I mean, he's gonna have a lower turnout too, but in the end, I mean, I could see the Trump Republicans who are still gonna back him. No one's gonna back an establishment hack like Michael Bloomberg. Anyway, so I think that is Chris Sununu's lean states. Michael Bloomberg's lean states include Virginia. I think he will be very, very close, like 3 points for Michael Bloomberg, the former New York City mayor. New Jersey, I think that'll be lean blue because while New Jersey is a pretty solid Democratic, but the thing is, no one's gonna turn out for Bloomberg. Like I would see Bloomberg not getting any support, so that's gonna hurt him. Plus, New Jersey's a relatively working class in some areas, but pretty wealthy in others. So I think Bloomberg will do well in the more wealthy areas, but he'll get destroyed in the rural areas and working class areas. So, well, Chris Sununu could run up, but I think if he chooses a more Trumpian running mate, then I think that could help him. So, yeah, and Chris Sununu's tilt states. He doesn't have any tilt states, so the rest are pretty much going to Bloomberg. Although I could, oopsie daisy. I would say Colorado would be tilt the Republican. I know this is very very controversial. Like I know someone like Bloomberg could do well, but the Colorados are very full of millennials. Like you have a lot of millennials, a lot of college educated voters who are progressives, and the state loves Bernie Sanders. And with Michael Bloomberg, a corporate establishment hack, even worse than Hillary Clinton. The progressives are not going to turn out for Michael Bloomberg, so Colorado will end up being going to the Sununu column. And I see a very similar thing to New Mexico as well, where he narrowly takes New Mexico because many of them he's just gonna have suffer from low turnout, guys. It's many of the same things apply. And then Maine at large, I think would be very, very narrow, but since it's more Republican than New Mexico and Colo, I would see Maine at large being very close. I would say probably a very narrow 1 point victory because since Sununu is from neighboring New Hampshire, so I think regional advantage can kind of play a role here. And Nebraska's second. If it's gerrymandered, which I think it'll most likely be, they're probably going to make it more Republican leaning. Then I probably see Nebraska second being a likely margin. Anyway, guys, that is my prediction. Chris Sununu has 344 electoral votes. Michael Bloomberg has 194. If you liked the video, please put a thumbs up. If you hated it, put a thumbs down. And subscribe to my channel for more content. More content is to come. I already made an election night part 1. I will show you how to do it tomorrow. And if you disagree, we can write down in the comments. And please, please, please be respectful in the comments. And especially big time a partisan divide. We have to be respectful to each other. Disrespectful comments are not going to be tolerated. I have zero tolerance to any disrespectful comments. I want to make this a great political forum where we can all communicate our ideas. Anyway, this is for today's video, and I will see you all in the next video. I hope you guys have a great day, and see you tomorrow. Bye.